We need a new definition of who is a Jew. I have been trying to understand all the various reasons people use to hate Jews and come to conclusions on how it happens, why, and what changes can be made to stop it. Just making general statements that we are against all anti-Semitism and banning or deplatforming hate speech will not stop it. You must face it head on and understand and argue every reason. This means not being afraid to speak the truth, even if that means admitting unflattering truths. A race is not an ideology. I am so tired of people categorizing and conflating globalists, the elite, the world's bankers, the establishment, communists, Marxists, Bolsheviks, socialists, leftists, and liberals as Jews. While many of the people in these categories are racially Jewish, they have no identity with the Jewish religion of Judaism. They are assimilated completely into Western culture and are often atheists, secular, or Luciferian. These are all labels and ideologies that have nothing to do with and go against Judaism. People of any race can ascribe to any ideology, just as any person can ascribe to any religion. The name Jew should only apply to adherents to Judaism whether you were born into it or convert. Anyone not following the religion of Judaism but is racially Jewish should be considered an apostate and shunned by other Jews. They have been cut off by God spiritually. Why should we still embrace them, unless they wish to return to Judaism? Much, but not all, of anti-Semitism would stop if we did this. However, it would still leave open criticism of Judaism itself by anti-Semites by demonizing Jews for following the Talmud, and the State of Israel, which I will address in a separate video. The cultural but not religious Jew. Many American Jews may identify with Jewish culture but not Judaism. Eating bagels with lox or watching other so-called Jewish actors or comedians does not make you Jewish. You may have even went to Jewish day school, know some Yiddish or Hebrew, but if there is no meaning or connection to God, then you have either rejected God, or your elders and institutions have failed you. You are no different from a non-Jew. You may as well be considered a goy. This is how they get sucked into other religions or ideologies. They cherry-pick notions or values from Judaism and hyper-focus on it and lose the context of its origin. Such as loving the stranger becomes we must let everyone in, no borders, even if they want to kill us, or always fighting for the underdog or a minority because Jews are always the minority. Unless Jews become the majority in their own historical, indigenous land, then fight for the other minority who wants to kill them. It's self-destructive, which proves it goes against God and therefore justifies shunning and criticizing them. White supremacists and conspiracy theorists. As an example, I recently joined Gab. I joined because I was afraid to join Twitter fearing a negative response to my tweets. I hope to find more like-minded people to come to my blog. There are many Christians, conservatives, and supporters of Israel there, but there are also many true white supremacist neo-Nazis who enjoy trolling every post with the words Jew, Jewish, Judaism, Talmud or Israel. They make disgusting comments, downvote your posts en masse if you comment back, and basically make life annoying. There seem to be no other religious Jews on Gab talking about Judaism, so I went to Twitter. Surprisingly, I have had no problems, so far, with trolls or white supremacists on Twitter. Follow me at Pure Judaism blog. Having these Nazi trolls didn't frighten me, it made me curious. Okay, so what are these people really saying? Why are they so obsessed with Jews? After reading their posts and trying to get the underlying theme, they really don't have one except that they just hate all Jews whether religious or not. They believe all the conspiracy theories that Jews already rule every aspect of the world. They also seem to be stuck in the 1920s and 30s because they like to use the term Bolsheviks but are also in the present with naming every Jew Democrat, a communist or Republican, a capitalist influenced by either Israel or Jewish heads of corporations. They're not picky, they will use any one of the various catch-all terms above depending on the person. Jewish Bolshevism. What is a Bolshevik, you ask? I didn't know either, so I did some research. Apparently a disproportionate number of Jews joined the Russian Revolution against Tsarist Russia that started as socialist but then turned communist and sought world domination. Jews were attracted to this because it was through the monarchy that either turned a blind eye or condoned all the pogroms against Jews. However, the Jews who joined neither considered themselves Jews or fought in the name of Judaism. Lenin actually spoke out against anti-Semitism, making capitalists the evil ones. But once he formed the government, very few Jews were in it. And once Lenin was in power, the Jews who supported him were forced to face the shame knowing they helped bring even more brutality about both for Jews and non-Jews. Hitler used this, that Jews were responsible, to target Jews and rise to power as a nationalist fighting Lenin and the spread of communism, and it seems he still lives on. No matter that communist Russia is no more, or that Jews also suffered under communism when all religion was banned. As long as they can claim Jewish domination, they still have an enemy to fight. This conspiracy is spread by everyone, not just neo-Nazis. It's all over YouTube. But all these Jews they talk about are anti-God. Most if not all wouldn't even consider themselves Jews, unless it benefits them with others. Take the designation of Jew away, and you are left with just ideologies. Then you can focus on the corrupt individuals, leading corrupt organizations and governments with their corrupt ideologies. Because as long as they can hide behind their Jewishness, they can block all criticism as being anti-Semitic and remain in power unchecked. Conclusions. Looking back at history, it doesn't seem to matter. Jews were hated when they were the minority, they were hated when they became big and powerful. Look at the Exodus story. Pharaoh grew suspicious when the Israelites grew large and was worried they would turn on them in battle. But even in the exile they are despised because they don't assimilate, and when they do, then they are despised because they become too powerful. Nothing seems to matter, there will always be a reason. However, it's time to stop letting Hitler keep defining who is a Jew. We Jews will define who you call a Jew. This takes the power away from them. This means we need to voice this when the white supremacists or conspiracy theorists make their claims. And we also need to call out the individuals themselves when they do play the Jew card and criticize their ideology and actions as justification. To be continued. In my next video I will examine the anti-Zionism is the new anti-Semitism and religious anti-Semitism.